All right, buddy. Hey, we're back in action, in person, in the same room. You got to crack a cold open one. We're watching the Tennessee-Missouri game.
Oh, I would, Mike, but I'm trying to sober up. Got a long drive ahead of me. Not really, 5 minutes, but I just want to be ready.
Yeah,
So,
I got you.
It's been a hell of a day, Mike. Tennessee we're about 3/4 in Tennessee Vols game. I think we've got 85, 90 points now. So, sorry, in the background we got Mizzou just keep screwing things up. Oh, my gosh, we'll get to that. But it is awesome. SEC football on our TV. We've been waiting a long, long time for this. Got a little taste with Vandy.
Yep.
Now we're getting a little taste with Mizzou and Tennessee. And then Saturday, it's a full slate, baby.
Yeah, and how great was it? I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a Tennessee season start like this. First play, defense gets an interception.
Yeah.
First play for the offense, score a touchdown. And then the cameraman just locked in on some hot ladies in the stands. I mean, it was a Tennessee Lollapalooza there.
I'll tell you, we were joking. It's 23 seconds in. We didn't even get the opening kickoff, and we're up 7-0. So I was like, this is going to be awesome. This is exactly what I wanted for Christmas. But great start to the game. A lot of things still that obviously, and that's what we're going to see this weekend. We're going to see a lot of SEC teams come out, just like Mizzou, struggling, making stupid mistakes.
Yeah.
They're going to clean this up, and that's why you have some of these cupcake teams week one.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about it. It looked like they were toying around with Louisiana Tech. Tech was up 3-0, and I'm sitting here, oh, my God, it's a 20-point spread. Meltdown City, quarterback Brady Cook, let him cook. You said they got the wrong cook in there. Next thing you know, a quarter later, it's 20-3.
Yeah.
In complete control of the ball game. So but you got to try not to freak out.
Don't turn around now, Mike. Because I wouldn't say complete control, but they do got a pretty good handle on it. I think the recipe's simple there. Yeah. Just give Burden the ball every single time. You do that, I think you're going to win a lot of ball games.
This is going to be a classic one if who comes back and wins it.
No, don't put that evil on them. Remember, we're recording this. It's 6 minutes in the second quarter, so a lot of game left. You may look at this later and say, well, look at these idiots. This wasn't even close. So that's what I'm hoping happens, because that was what I had my spread on.
So Shane, finally here, game day. We got some picks to get to.
Yeah.
We've got some prize picks to get to. We've got some wager to get to. But before we get to our official predictions for Saturday and also Sunday, of course, because we got LSU, Florida State kicking off on Sunday. What we like to do, we don't pick the winners for the FCS games. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What's the point?
We don't do that.
There's no spread. There's nothing. So I just want to ask you what we do like to do. What's something you want to see?
Yeah.
And let's start with Sam Houston, who, according to Jimbo, the best team in college football history, perhaps, going opening in College Station. What's something you want to see from these Aggies?
Well, the easy answer, man, is quarterback. I want to see. Obviously, if you're just a fan, maybe not following Texas A&M that much, you just want to see how this offense runs under Jimbo. You want to see is this a legit top four opponent? Is this somebody that can make a college football playoff? That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
And I don't know it's an FCS opponent, but you still can get a pretty good taste of what the season's going to look like. Now, if they're hanging around by halftime, you're going to say, oh, God, Texas A&M, what are you doing? So I think the first thing, obviously, quarterback play. The second for me, Mike, is just total line domination. I want to see it up front. I want to see offense, defense. I want to see them pin their ears back and get some pressure on the quarterback. Yeah. I want to see this be an ugly little game and over quick. I don't want to see this thing dragged out, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah, you mentioned, obviously, Haynes King. I want to see what he's got. I want to see him play mistake-free football.
Yeah.
Because it was limited action we saw him, but there was a lot of turnovers.
Right.
Not all on him, but you got to play clean there. I want to see the defensive front completely reworked. They got some stud freshmen coming in there. See how those guys look on the defensive line. And Devon Achain, I got more on him in a minute, but I want to see him. Hopefully he only gets 15 carries, and he'll probably have 200 yards with those 15. You know what?
Yeah, I think this is one of those games you're not going to see much.
Yeah.
I think you're going to get a little taste of this. Oh my gosh, Luther, he is. Sorry, Mike, I get sidetracked. The kid, I haven't had his chips yet. Where they're on their way, but they got something special down there. But But back to what I was saying. Sorry, this is probably a bad idea. The TV should have been behind me.
Yeah.
But what were we talking about? Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Sorry, where was we? Just
Devon
yeah.
Achane and
So what I was saying is, I don't think we're going to see much. I think that we're going to get little taste of this, little sample of that, but for the most part, I did. Coors Light's coming up. So, but again, I think what we do, man, you can tell we've been drinking all day.
I think I know where you're going,
yeah.
Chad. I also want to see Evan Stewart, the 5-star freshman receiver. I want to see him make a big impact for the Aggies. All right, Mercer at Auburn. It should be a cakewalk. What do you want to see from the Tigers?
I want to see what these receivers look like. This is the biggest, probably out of all the receiving core in the SEC, the biggest question mark for me. I love Tank. Obviously, we're going to see a heavy dose of that, but I don't want that to be the only thing. Yeah. This is an opportunity for TJ to work out some chemistry with these receivers, and you do that by letting them play a little bit. So even though it's not it's not a tough opponent, shouldn't be a tough opponent, shouldn't be a close game at all, I think this is a glorified scrimmage, and I hope they take advantage of it by at least being a little aggressive and giving us a little sample size of what Auburn offense is going to look like moving forward.
Yeah, you stole almost everything I was going to say. So TJ Finley, his progression in the offense, that's all we're hearing in camp. He knows he's got complete command of this year 2 in Brian Harson's system. And I think maybe most importantly, not for this game, but moving forward, the offensive line, because that's a huge question mark for Auburn. We just said their center, his career's over, unfortunately, Nick Brom. So remember I said 80% of the time you don't cover if you don't got your center. So how's that work? Well, it's not going to be a problem against Mercer.
No, but again, it's Auburn. This is a team going against Mercer that you literally can turn around and hand the ball to Tank the entire game and win. And I hope they don't do that. Some of these games, like you see it get a little bit more conservative. Tennessee, Ball State, you're seeing it a little conservative with Mizzou, but they're starting to have to, get a little fancy here to open up that offense. I don't want to see them have to do that, but again, this is a perfect opportunity to really get some good, valuable reps in. So that's what I want to see.
All right, how about Elon coming to Vanderbilt? Maybe the hottest team in the country. Shane, what do you want to see from them Commodores?
A continuation. Vandy's, a little slow out of the gate with Hawaii, but once they got going, and they were moving quick. And Vanderbilt is kind of intriguing to me so far. I love the athleticism of Mike, but that can't be it.
Yeah.
That he will not survive. He will not survive 12 games playing like he did week 1, especially going through SEC opponents. So Elon is a team they should beat. And this is a team that we should see some other people emerge, and who's going to help them out. Yeah, and we saw bits and pieces of it and flashes of it against Hawaii. If they can build on that, I just want to see that momentum continue. I'm very impressed with week 1, and if they can continue that week 2, even Elon, I think it just builds a little bit of that team morale, and that's what they need right now.
Yeah, and like you were saying, they were so physically dominant against Hawaii. That's got to continue against Elon. There's no excuse for them not to dominate them the same way. But also, what I was going to say, you hit on it as well, Mike Wright. I want to see that progression as a passer. Yeah. Because that was not quite there in the Hawaii game. And, he's got some his best receivers are true freshmen, so it's not going to be – they're not going to start the season halfway across the world firing on all cylinders. Yeah. They got to get better there, got to get better on third down. If they do have to go for it, they shouldn't have to go for a single fourth down in this ball game. But if they do, they got to convert there because that was something they struggled with in the opener as well.
Absolutely, and this is one of the only teams that's already got one under the belt. So what did they work on in this week? Is there a progression on that defensive line? Because there was at times Hawaii at the start of that matchup, they were able to run it free wheel. So did they make any adjustments this week? So I think that's big too. Yeah,
and speaking of Vanderbilt, we're sitting here watching the Tennessee game, Shane. Yeah. The show this year sponsored by Wager. Yeah. Sports betting app. Tennessee residents only. You got to be 21 years of age to play. But what's cool about Wager, Shane, you can join it, and it's peer-to-peer betting service. Yes. So you can jump on there, Bet against Cousin Shane, his wager of the week.
Yep.
You can bet against my wager. And not only the wager of the week, any SEC game, any college football game.
That's right.
Join the That SEC podcast group in the wager app. You use our promo code or use the promo code SEC. Just click on that link, get $20 of free bets. Favorite thing, Shane, when you're trying to sign someone up for a service, what's the catch? You got to get my social security number, my credit card, all that, right?
Yeah.
Nope, not for wager. You don't have to put $1 down. They give you 20 to play with. There's nothing to lose. We're having a good time on this app.
Absolutely. And we've got a lot of people jumping on there saying, hey, where you at? If you go up there and you search That SEC podcast, you can find the community. If it didn't put you in there immediately, come join us. We're having fun. Every week I'm going to put a $100 wager of the week. I break that up in $10 intervals so everybody has an opportunity to take some of my money, which right now you may want to avoid because I'm on fire. I did the Tennessee wager, and then, of course, we're going to get to one here in a minute. So if you want a little piece of the action, again, jump on Wager as WAGR and download promo code SEC, and you can't go wrong. It's fun, and it's something we're going to talk about all year.
Yeah, and that link can be found in the show notes, Shane. Again, you got to be a Tennessee resident or just in the state. You could cross that border, play that wager app. There's nothing against that. You got to be 21 years of age or older to play. Please play responsibly. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789.
That's it. Come on down to Dollywood, get you a shirt, get you one of them tie-dyed shirts there in Gatlinburg.
Yep.
Get a bet in and get out.
But speaking, hey, if you're not in the state of Tennessee, we got a lot of fans that are outside of the state.
Yeah.
We're also sponsored by Prize Picks, Shane.
Yes.
And you use, again, the same promo code, SEC. It's also, the link is in the show notes. They'll match your initial deposit up to $100 over at Prize Picks.
Yes.
And Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports. And, hey, I was on fire last year.
Undefeated, Mike.
Undefeated this year, 2 for 2. My Vanderbilt Prize Picks from last week. I got a couple more I know you're going to love this week, Shane. So how about this? I mean, give me a break. Devon Achane?
What?
Against, who are they playing? Sam Houston? Maybe the greatest FCS team ever. But they're playing freaking Texas A&M. 88.5 rushing yards. He's going to have that probably in 2 carries, don't you think?
Give me the over. I think we're going to have a break. This is one of those running backs that can get 80 yards on 1 carry.
Yeah.
So, and definitely against Sam Houston. I love the over on this one, Mike.
Now, how about this? I don't know how you're going to feel about it, but Jaden Daniels, LSU quarterback.
Yeah.
And here's the catch. 229.5 passing yards against Florida State. I'm going under. And for 2 reasons, Shane. We know this guy, Jaden Daniels, the transfer. He came on. He runs faster than you're legally allowed to drive in your neighborhood there, 21 miles per hour. He can throw it, but he also can run it.
Yes.
So to ask him to throw for over 230 yards in his first game with a reworked offensive line, I think he's going to have a lot of rushing yards.
Yes.
And we don't even know if he is a quarterback. Yeah. We think he is, but even if he is, they're probably going to bring Garrett Nussmeier in.
Right.
So there's so many factors going into this one. We don't like to go under that often, but I think 229.5 passing yards for Jaden Daniels, I'm going under.
I think so. I think this is a very conservative play calling game. You do that by moving the clock, moving the chains, and you do that by not throwing that much. So I like the under here as well.
Now, one more. I think you're going to like this one, Shane.
Yeah.
Georgia Bulldogs star receiver A.D. Mitchell caught the game-winning pass in the national championship game facing Oregon.
Yeah.
Oregon's got some nice linebackers. They got a couple linemen. Okay. They got no idea what they're in the secondary for these SEC receivers. 42.5 receiving yards for A.D. Mitchell. Come on now. I'm going way over for that.
Over. I like it, Mike. I like it. We're on the same page. And I think, too, because that's like their least threat. And I know that sounds crazy, but you're hearing the tight end talk, you're hearing the running back talk, you're hearing there's not a lot of receiver talk, and so I think Kirby's going to exploit that. This is going to be a big game, national TV. Let's have some fun. Let's open up these Bulldog offense.
Yeah. All right, brother. You ready? I know you're ready.
Yeah.
Ready to pick some football games?
I've been ready all day, Mike.
All right, we're going to start, Shane. I'm just kind of going in random order.
1 second. I'm not ready. No, I'm just kidding. I got them wrote down here. I knew I'd be drinking and I'd screw this thing up. So, all right, I'm ready.
I'm gonna go in a little bit of random order here. I'm trying to save the best games for the end here.
Yeah.
But I'm going to start here, Shane, with Troy at number 21 Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
The Ole Miss Rebels in Oxford, 21.5-point favorite.
Yeah.
The over/under 57.5 points. This game kicks off at 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central on the SEC Network.
Yeah.
Who do you like in the ball game?
Mike, I love Ole Miss, obviously, to win this game, but I don't like that spread. And here's why. We've got so many new faces there in Oxford. And I think to think that this is going to be the same Ole Miss team of last year, it's not. Yeah. You know, I expect them to have a high tempo. They were talking about it. They were number 2 in the country with a amount of plays, like time between plays. I think that takes an adjustment. I think it's a little slower at the start, and they're not going to be able to play Ole Miss offense. So this isn't that I like Troy. It's just I don't quite like Ole Miss yet. So I think it's a slow, sluggish start. I don't think the game's ever in jeopardy, but I'd like Ole Miss, obviously, to win 35. I've got Troy at 21, so 14-point ball game here.
Ooh.
So give me Troy with the under, but Ole Miss with the victory.
Yeah, I mean, we're dead on here, Shane. I mean, like you said, we still don't even know who the starting quarterback for Ole Miss. Now, does that mean they got 2 excellent quarterbacks, or they got 2 Brady Cooks? I don't know. I don't know.
Easy. Let's let them get through the first game here, Mike.
Okay. I'm just saying. What's this offense going to look like? They're loaded with skill position talent. Mm-hmm. Who can get them the ball? And I think what we've not talked enough about is the fact they lost DJ Durkin, the defensive coordinator. That defense really carried them late in the season when Matt Corral got hurt. So I think there's going to be a step back to that defense. Not going to be as bad as they were 2 years ago. But the good news, like you said, Troy's not a very good team. First-year head coach.
Yeah.
He's a good coach. Comes from Kentucky. He was a co-defensive coordinator. I think the future's bright for Troy.
Right.
But just not right out the gate. New quarterback. We almost have the same score here, Shane. If this was Ole Miss and we knew what we were getting, I'd go with Ole Miss all day long in that spread.
For sure.
But I'm right there with you. Ole Miss 38, Troy 20. So I like Troy to cover. But just by a field goal here, but Ole Miss to win easily.
Absolutely. And again, this is one of those teams we talked about, in other pods that, you move this game to week 10, it's not even close.
Right.
And I'm not saying that it's going to be close. I'm just saying it feels
it's almost too hard to gamble.
It really is.
Put 3 touchdowns on someone we don't
exactly.
So many unknowns.
Exactly, man. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah. Well, how about I think you will on this one. Miami of Ohio at your Kentucky Wildcats, number 20 Wildcats. Kentucky's a 16-point favorite. Mm-hmm. The over/under is 54 total points. This game kicks off at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central on ESPN and SEC Network Plus. Who do you like in the ballgame?
I think you know exactly who I like in this ball game. I like the Big Blue Nation. I have them number 2 in the SEC East for a reason. I just think they got the pieces, especially on the offense. The problem I have with them is defense. I don't know what that's going to look like, especially when we hit SEC play. So I'm thinking it's going to be a little bit – I don't want to call it a shootout, but I think there's going to be some points put on the board that shouldn't be and maybe won't be later in the year. So I think Kentucky's offense is going to be flawless. So I've got them scoring a lot of points, 38 points in fact. But Miami, Ohio, I've got backdooring this thing and coming in and covering the spread 24. So give me Kentucky with the win, Miami, Ohio with the points.
Why you hate Kentucky?
It's not that I hate it. But again, I think there's still some questions that need to be answered on that defensive side of the ball, especially. Even on offense, man. Are we going to have some of those guys step up? We're going to be down Rodriguez. Not that everybody wants to talk like it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal. It's one of the best running backs in the country, and you don't have them.
Right.
So there is an adjustment. I think Kentucky, depth-wise, this is where later in the game they're really going to lean on those big uglies up front, and they're just going to take away the game. I just don't think it's going to be the blowout that Lexington wants.
Yeah, I almost said the same thing, Shane. I think Kentucky, their offense maybe could struggle a little bit. Some new pieces on defense that could have trouble with Brett Gabbert here, the brother of old Blaine Gabbert up there. But, man, I mean, they're so hype on Will Levis, and this team and this coaching staff got such an edge to them. I don't see how they don't come out here and whoop the hell out of Miami. So I'm going to go the other way. I got Kentucky winning and covering the spread, and I think like I said on our earlier this week, one bold prediction. I think Will Levis probably going to score 4 touchdowns in this game.
Yeah.
You got to get that momentum going into Gainesville. Got to get that belief. This is a game in years past, like I think it was last year at UTC. I mean, they were struggling.
Yeah.
They did get a pick six late in that game to make it look a little bit more convincing than what it really was. We got to avoid that here. I think this is going to be a locked-in Kentucky team. Give me Kentucky 35, Miami 13. Kentucky wins and covers the spread.
Okay, we're not far off. Like I said, I got them backdooring this thing. I got Will Levis getting 5 touchdowns. Come on now.
All right, Utah State at number 1, Alabama, Shane. Alabama, 41.5-point favorite.
Damn.
Over under 62 total points. The game's at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on the SEC Network. Who do you like in the game?
Oh, man, how good did Utah State look last week, huh?
Yeah.
Because they're going to look the exact opposite this Saturday. Their glory days are behind them because Alabama is going to come out. This is kicking. I mean, did you see Will Anderson? Did you see how excited he was about killing quarterbacks?
Yep.
I mean, that's exactly the team that's coming in here to play. Alabama is going to destroy Utah State, and it's not because they hate Utah State. It's because they're starting a revenge tour, and it kicks off this Saturday. So I don't 41.5, 51.5. I don't care. I'm going to take the over either way you give it to me. I've got Alabama crushing Utah State, 59. Utah State 3. This is total bloodbath. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Don't you feel it?
No.
No?
I saw this Utah State come out,
Here we go.
guns a-blazing week 0.
Uh-huh.
I didn't realize how good they were under their current coach, Shane.
Yeah.
He's 12-3 at Utah State.
Oh, crown him.
He's
Yeah.
2-0 against Power 5. He's a hell of a coach here. Logan Bonnet, they got a quarterback, Shane, over 7,000 passing yards, 69 touchdowns, 21 interceptions. I mean, this guy's going to be throwing it all over the yard. Give me the upset, Shane. Alabama 52, Utah State 14 covers the spread. I just think Alabama they might come out a little slow. I mean, who's Bryce Young? I mean, he's incredible,
Right.
but he's still got to get that rapport with his receivers. Lost his top 3 receivers. The top one back was the tight end. He's out, Cam Latu. So, you know, it's not like they're going to struggle in this game, but I think they might be a little bit slower on offense. I think the defense, at least when they put in the third string by the end of the game, they're going to give up a play or two. So I like the backdoor cover here, maybe like a late field goal or something. Utah State covers at 41.5.
I'm telling you, brother, there's a real shot. This is a 70-point game. It's got the makings for it. I don't know. I think Alabama is better prepared than we think. I don't think they stumble out of the gate at all. I think they come out, just guns a-blazing. But, two, they got to find that competitive depth, and that's one thing about the Alabama I think that got them last year was who's the guy to come in for backup? Is he the best guy on the team? And sometimes when you're just destroying programs, you lose that competitive depth. You're just out there just getting through the game and praying nobody gets hurt. And I don't think that's the approach that Nick's going to have for this year. I think he's going to come out to win. I think he's going to come out to destroy. And that's why I like the big time score here with Alabama.
Not a rebuild year, huh?
No, not a rebuild. No, these kids are sophomores now,
All right, I know you're looking forward to this one, Shane. Memphis at Mississippi State. Them Bulldogs favored by 16 points at home. Over under 57 total points.
Yep.
The game's at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on ESPN. Who do you got in the game?
Going into this week, I was a little leery about the revenge factor. Does this team even care about how they got screwed last year? Like all them gamblers out there in East Tennessee losing money on this bet because of a stupid play call. But then you hear the Pirate come out, you're hearing the players come out, you're hearing the fans come out. You forget. Just take away all of that for a second. These two programs are not far away from each other, and they absolutely despise one another. So this is a poor man rivalry, brother. And I expect Mississippi State to come out here guns a-blazing. This is an offense that's got everybody back. Will Rogers is kicking off his Heisman campaign. This is my wager of the week, brother.
Ooh.
I am going in on this one. Lock it down. I've got Mississippi State killing Memphis Tigers 42-14. So give me the points and the score.
I'm glad you're wagering this one up, Shane, because that gives me extra confidence to let you know Memphis got a freshman All-American quarterback, Seth Heineken. I like to call him Heineken. Ryan Silverfield, the head coach, 14 wins in his first 2 seasons, second most in program history. I'm just saying, they got some nice pieces here, Shane, to go up against Mississippi State, who is the most experienced team in the SEC coming back. The revenge factor, very real. One thing about Mississippi State we don't talk enough about.
What's that?
Tulu Griffin, who may be the best returner in the country. They've got a hell of a returner. Ra Thomas is someone that we touched on a little bit. I think he only caught 19 passes last year, but he had 5 touchdowns among the 19. I mean, he's just a big play waiting to happen. So I'm almost talking myself into a cover here, but I don't know. I just feel like Mississippi State, for whatever reason, I don't want to say stumble, but they start slow.
Yeah.
And with the offensive tackles, I think there's going to be a little bit of a transition there. We saw in year 1 that was a big issue for Mike Leach's offense when they couldn't get the offensive tackles to play up to snuff, that the offense struggled.
Yeah.
And I think they might go a little bit slower than you're saying right out the gate. I still like Mississippi State to win. But I think Memphis has got a good enough quarterback to score some points in this ball game. So I'm going to go Mississippi State 33, Memphis 20. So I like Memphis to cover, but Mississippi State to win by 2 touchdowns.
My wager. What's your wager? Have we got to it yet?
Not yet.
All right. It's marinating. I love it.
All right, Shane, this is one I can't wait to see here. Georgia State at South Carolina. The Gamecocks favored by 12.5 points. Over under 56.5 total points. Game kicks off at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on ESPN SEC Network Plus. How's this a plus game? Come on, man. This could be a hell of a game. Night game here in Columbia. Who you got in it?
Yeah, I think you're right. And there's a lot of narratives here. We got new quarterback. We got new offense. I mean, it's just so many new pieces there on that side of the ball. And then here you got Georgia State, a program that nobody wants to play. We keep paying them to come in the SEC and scare the shit out of us. So hopefully that doesn't happen Saturday. So I listen and I'm trying to give Georgia State the benefit of the doubt that they're a pretty good program because they do find a way to play SEC teams better than expected,
Right.
And then Vegas comes out with these odds, and you're like, well, maybe we should give this pause because, we're talking just barely a 2-score, advantage for South Carolina. So either they don't have confidence in South Carolina or they have more confidence in Georgia State. And I've been eating the hype train, man. I've been drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm on the South Carolina bandwagon right now, and I'm in the prove me wrong stage. So until that happens, I've got to go favorite for the Gamecocks here. And without further ado, I've got South Carolina winning this game, putting up quite a few points, 35. But I do think Georgia State kind of hangs around earlier in the game. So give me 20 points from them. So 15-point game, still giving South Carolina the over.
Yeah, and there is a lot to like about Georgia State. As I told you, as I studied them up, won 7 of the last 8, 18 returning starters, top 3 rushers are all back. Their quarterback was MVP of their bowl win. We forgot to mention they're retiring Clowney's jersey at halftime. Yeah. Gamecocks ain't going to come out flat with Clowney getting his jersey retired. How balanced. We talk so much about Spencer Rattler,
yes,
as we should, but I don't think they're going to come out here and ask him to throw for 5,000 yards. Nope. I think he helps them be a lot more balanced, makes defenses having to respect the pass so much that guys like Marshawn Lloyd can have breakout seasons for the Gamecocks. So that is something I really want to see. Jaheim Bell, the tight end, I don't think that Georgia State's going to have any answer for Jaheim Bell.
Yeah.
And we saw, not even North Carolina did in the bowl game. And, how can you go against South Carolina when you got Juice Wells coming out here saying, we're going to kill this damn team. You know, so it's like no chance in hell. The entire offensive line back for South Carolina. I already said it. I think they're going to score over 40 points in this ball game. Wager of the week, Shane. South Carolina 42, Georgia State 20. I can't believe people are going to think it's a damn ball game. No. And that 20, they're going to get that in the end when South Carolina's got their third string in.
You still hate them, don't you? You still hate them, Mike. I still hate them too, Mike. I hope they get beaten and never come back to the SEC.
All right, Shane, how about this one? Ooh, top 11 matchup here. Number 11, Oregon versus number 3, Georgia in Atlanta. The defending national champions favored by 17 points. The over-under, 53 total points. The game kicks off at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central on ABC. And, of course, this is the Chick-fil-A kickoff game there in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Right. Who do you like in the ball game?
Might as well be a home game for the Georgia Bulldogs. You know what I'm saying? This one here, man, and again, I'm just not a fan of Oregon. I mean, there's a reason they were looking for a new coach.
Yep.
And it's not like they just reloaded over the offseason. It's not like this team got 10 times better. This is one of those programs that's almost a top 10, and at the end of the year, you look back at games like this, and you're like, why? Why are we even putting, because of their schedule, we're going to reward them with a higher ranking? No, I don't see it. Here's the Georgia Bulldogs coming off a national championship. Everybody questioning, is it going to be a hangover? Was last year was just a one-off because you had one of the greatest defenses ever? I think there's a lot of question marks, especially at the offensive side. Like, can they win games like they've been playing? Are they going to open it up with Stetson there at quarterback? I think this team is out to prove it. We heard it at SEC Media Days. These guys that are starters now, they don't want to replicate what has been done. They want to make a name for themselves. And I think this is a totally different program. Maybe not the best defense, probably not as good as defense as they had last year, but I think the offense is well improved. And I think that is what gets flexed this Saturday. Georgia Bulldogs should not be scared of this team at all. I don't care how pretty their uniforms are. I don't care how many storylines they got coming into this thing. This should not be a ball game, and it won't be, Mike. This is a defending national champ playing where they're going to be competing later for an SEC championship. This is one of those games you turn off at half. So I'm just letting you know. 31 Georgia, 6 Oregon. Yeah, I know what you're saying. This isn't the Ducks, your Papa watch down there, Chip Kelly. This isn't. They're going to struggle to get the ball moving at all, and we're going to start that whole thing again like, can anyone score a touchdown against Georgia Bulldogs? It's going to continue with the week 1 against Oregon.
Man, poor Bo Nix. He just can't escape them dogs, can he?
Yeah, do you remember the last time these two teams met? You know what I'm saying? There's a reason he left the SEC. It may have been haunting him.
But, of course, Dan Lanning's first game as a head coach, so that's intriguing.
Yeah.
But, man, he hired Tosh LaPoy as his defensive coordinator. That guy was so good at Alabama, Shane, they fired him midseason.
Yeah.
Kenny Dillingham.
Who gets fired at Alabama? I mean, think about that, Mike. You know what I'm saying? Sorry.
Well, technically, he got he didn't get fired, but he got his play calling duties taken away, which means you're fired, but they don't want to announce it, cause a big issue. Kenny Dillingham, an offensive coordinator, he was so good at Auburn, Gus took the play calling duties from him. So it's like, I got no confidence in this coaching staff. I got no confidence in Bo Nix. They got a couple good linebackers. I'll give Oregon that. But you know what? Georgia's got the world-class NFL-style tight ends here that they can throw at these linebackers. So it kind of minimizes Oregon's strength, in my opinion. So I'm right there with you. I want to see how Kenny McIntosh looks at running back when he's stepping up. I think he could have a big-time game. Stetson Bennett, what's he look like? Believe it or not, Shane, I didn't realize this till this week, because he's been down there so long, and he is 14-3 as a starter. He's never started a season opener, even though he's been in college like 9 years. Never started an opener. This is Stetson Bennett's first game as a starter in the opener. I think he has a big game. Yeah. Give me Georgia 38. Oregon, I got a little bit more confidence they'll score 17. So I like the Bulldogs. I like the Bulldogs big.
Yeah. This is going to be a great game. I can't wait. I mean, people are trying. I mean, they're trying to get cute and act like Georgia's. It's Alabama or nobody. No, let's not forget who won the championship. Let's not forget who beat Alabama in the playoffs. So, I think yes, did they reload a little bit? Of course, but they reloaded with talent that's also going to be in the NFL here in a couple years. So
Right.
I think you hit the nail on the head. The tight ends alone, they potentially have 3 Pro Bowl tight ends
Right.
playing on Sunday. You know,
And you know one thing we don't say enough about Georgia? Didn't even get anybody out of the portal. And you could sit here and say, well, what the hell? Why they couldn't get anyone out of the portal?
Yeah.
They didn't need them, Shane.
Exactly.
They got confidence in who they're recruiting, who they're developing. And, hey, we all get enamored with all these guys. But Alabama, oh, they got this receiver, this running back.
Yeah.
That tells me they don't – I don't know. Something's down there at Alabama where they're having to get those guys out of the portal.
That's
Georgia right now has got confidence with the roster they got, the continuity. They know the system. Something to be said for that. I'm just saying. All right, how about this? This is going to be one of the best games of the weekend, Shane. Number 23 Cincinnati at number 19 Arkansas. Razorbacks favored by 6.5. The over/under is 52 total points. The game kicks off at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central on ESPN. Who do you like in the game?
You know, how can we have an Arkansas-Alabama matchup if we can't get past Cincinnati? You know, you talk about the hype train is at an all-time high. It's an all-time high with the Razorbacks, and rightfully so. You've got a Heisman potential quarterback. You've got all your coordinators back. I mean, there's the team chemistry. You've got a lot of players coming back for another year, had an opportunity to go to the next level. I mean, the story is beautiful, and you think if this is a run that you're going to make, this is the time. And you do that week 1, not overlooking Cincinnati. This is a team that competed. We made jokes that they were in the top 4 and they shouldn't have been. Regardless, they still were a very well-coached team last year. They were, they were well rostered. Unfortunately, they don't have their quarterback coming back, and I think a lot of people I don't know, maybe when they're doing the top 25, they forget little things like that, like who's got the reins of this program. And I think that's where it's a big advantage for Arkansas, is because they have so much team chemistry and that, and I just think there's going to be relentless pressure on them. So, I think as Coach Pittman says, I don't know what you're bringing to the party. These guys are bringing liquor to the party, and they're ready to whoop some ass. So give me Arkansas. I think it's a little closer than it looks. Don't be surprised if Cincinnati doesn't score late. I don't think it's a high-scoring game. I've got Arkansas 28, Cincinnati 17. So I still like Arkansas and the points.
How about this stat, Shane? Cincinnati head coach Luke Fickell, 5-0 in season openers. Okay. You know why I bring that up? Because this is the last damn day he's undefeated. That's coming to an end. I'm just getting that out of the way. I mean, that's a nice little stat. How about? I feel like no one's paying attention to this, Shane. Cincinnati lost 9 NFL draft picks.
Yeah.
And that means they've done a hell of a job. Having talent on that roster.
Right.
They ain't Alabama. They ain't Georgia. Even if Alabama and Georgia lose 9 draft picks to the NFL, we're like, oh, man, they're going to take a step back. They're not going to take a step back. They're going to fall off a damn cliff, losing that much talent to the NFL. Their star tight end, he's got 12 career touchdowns. I mean, that's about the only good thing I could find. They got 5 offensive linemen back. Last time I saw them play an SEC team, they were getting blown their ass off the ball. It's going to happen again here on Saturday. The Heisman campaign starts for KJ Jefferson. I do want to see which one of these receivers, if they are as legit as everyone says, all the buzz out of Fayetteville. I think they are. I really want to see how Malik Hornsby is used, the backup quarterback / receiver. Does he come out in kind of like a flash role? I think he does. Give me Arkansas 38, Cincinnati 20. They're going to blow the doors off his team and just roll on to next week with South Carolina, setting up Arkansas, South Carolina, which not enough people are talking about. A lot of people are circling Kentucky, Florida, which should be a hell of a game. Yeah. But for me, Arkansas, South Carolina, I think that's the game of the week, not only in the SEC but the country next week.
Well, and I like, one thing Sam talked about is the toughest schedule in the country, and right out of the gate, they're playing grown-up football. This isn't Ball State. This isn't, Southeast Louisiana State. This is Cincinnati. This is a team that was in the playoffs last year. They got South Carolina right around the corner. You got the A&M. You got Alabama. So this is a team that has to grow up quicker than some of the other programs, and I think that's important this coming Saturday, that they not only come in prepared, but they just put away business. So they're not. You can't leave a team like Cincinnati, because it is a well-coached program, lingering around, because next thing you know, one mistake and then you're down. So I just want to see Arkansas not overlook this team.
Yeah, there's no DeQuince on this
video. No, there is not.
And I know I'm saying that wrong at this point. I've had 50 people tell me. I'm still going to call him that.
I keep getting tagged in it, All
right, how about this one, Shane? Man, talk about game of the week here. Number 7, Utah. Give me a break. At Florida, Utah favored by 3 in the Swamp. Over under 51.5 total points. Game kicks off at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central on ESPN.
Yeah.
Who you like in the game?
Well, I tell you who I don't, man, and that is Utah. This thing's gone around back and forth, and they've been cute with the quarterback, and they've been cute with the records the last 10 years. Who gives a shit? All that does not matter, Mike. It does not matter.
Yeah.
And the fact, I was joking, this thing's flip-flop the points, and nothing against Florida, but the fact that this is a 3-point game should tell you that Utah should not be a top 25 program. If that was the case, then Florida should be a top 25 program. And I think they're close. I think they're on the edge, but they still got a lot to prove. And Utah has proved nothing to me. What, making it through the pack? Get out of here, Mike. Get out of here with that. There's a reason most of those athletes are trying to get to the SEC so they can get to the next level. So I'm just not a fan of Utah. They don't know what they're walking into. And this is big for the fans. Who shows up in Gainesville? How loud is the Swamp? Because I've been down there when it's been mean and ugly, and I want to buy a Florida Gators shirt so I don't get spit on my way out. That's the kind of violence I need to see, and I'm not promoting that. I don't want to see any spitting, but make Swamp a dangerous place to play. You do that, then you rattle Utah. Utah has never been into an atmosphere like Gainesville, man. Mm-hmm. And as hot and humid as it is, they really could take advantage of that. And that's what I hope happens here. And that's why I got Florida winning, because home field advantage matters in the SEC. So give me Florida. Give me where are we at? It's not a big one, but I got it wasn't Honda dealership, but I went Florida 28, Utah 21.
Ooh, yeah. I don't know if you heard this, Shane, but apparently Utah in their practice facility, they've been pumping in humidity to match what it's going to be in the Swamp.
Get out.
Good luck with that, brother. There's just no mimicking that. It is funny you say those stats are BS, because I got one of these for you. Utah 13-2 in their last 15 season openers. So, I mean, they know how to get this team fired up for the openers. They bring back a ton on offense. I think people are getting mystified because they seemingly went toe-to-toe with Ohio State last year in the bowl game, so everyone's falling in love. Hell, even in that game, they lost a damn ball game, yet we're sitting here hyping them up as a playoff contender. I don't think they got any idea what's coming for them. Mm-mm. With Anthony Richardson and this Billy Napier offensive attack, Shane, I think the Gators are going to be a lot more physical than Utah. Utah's billed as the physical team in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to find out what that's worth in the SEC and that heat and humidity.
Yeah.
So, like you said, I mean, the crowd is just going to be an X factor.
Yeah.
If Utah can come out and somehow get to a big lead and quiet the crowd, that's going to be their recipe for winning this football game. Mm-hmm. But I think it's going to be a 4-quarter game.
Yeah.
Could go either way, but I'm right there with you. I got Florida 24, Utah 21. All right, last game, Shane. Sunday evening. This could be a classic one here.
Yeah, that's right. We got one more.
LSU versus Florida State, New Orleans. Tigers favored by 3. The over/under 51.5 total points. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central on ABC, nationally televised. Mm-hmm. Who do you like in the game?
Well, Mike, I mean, there is a common theme today, and it is anybody other than the SEC doesn't deserve a victory. I don't know if you're picking up on that, so I'm not going to make this one any different. However, I think out of almost all the SEC games we watched, this is probably going to be the least entertaining.
Really?
I do. And it's nothing against LSU. I think it's more about Florida State. I think it's about the season opener here. I think we see some conservative play calling. And I see him leaning heavy on those big uglies up front. This is something you and I talked about earlier in the week. I think those four horsemen up front for the defense of LSU is going to wreak havoc in the backfield. And I just think they're not going to give Florida State too many opportunities to stay in this ball game. But again, I don't think we come out here guns a-blazing. I think we keep it pretty conservative, reduce because it's all about efficiency with Coach Kelly, and you've heard him talk about that, so I think as the season goes on, we may see a little bit more progression with the play calling, but I don't know. Call me nuts. I just feel like it's going to be slow, and it's going to be move the chains, and it's going to be keep the clock rolling, and that sort of play. So not sexy, but who cares? You do that 12 times, and you win 12 games, you go undefeated. I think LSU comes out, wins this thing 28, Florida State 20. So I think it's a closer game, but I think it's one of those maybe Florida State makes it a little interesting toward the end.
Yeah. Well, you could be onto something there, Shane, but again, Florida State, it's almost like they're the exact opposite of Florida State. They know who their quarterback is. He scored 39 touchdowns in 23 games. The entire coaching staff, they're one of the few in the Power 5 level that brings back all 10 assistant coaches. The coaching continuity there. They had a week 0 game. I know it was a joke of an opponent, but they look like a machine. 400 rushing yards, 3 players went over 100 yards rushing. There's a lot of unknowns with LSU, Shane. We don't even know who the quarterback's going to be. We don't even know how they're going to utilize the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
We don't know how these players fit in the system. Everyone's fired up for season opener. New coach Brian Kelly is going to win us a national championship or 2. That's the feeling right now. But all these pieces have got to gel together. I think Florida State is being overlooked. And I'm not even a huge believer in Florida State, but I'm just a more believer in continuity and knowing what we have at several key positions. And had Florida State not played week 0, I probably would have agreed with you and picked LSU. I'm going the other way, and almost the same score. I got Florida State 28, LSU 21. And I just think with all the new pieces and the new coaching staff, this is a ball game where 1 or 2 mistakes could cost you the game.
Yeah.
And that's just what happens when you're not on the same page, when you've not been in the same system. You're bringing in so many players for the transfer portal to help your system out. The offensive line is a complete work in progress. They got a true freshman at left tackle. They say he's awesome, though, so maybe he's just the best left tackle in the world. But, hey, all it takes is one miss here or there, and it's a strip sack. And that's the type of play I'm talking about that could be game-defining in this matchup. I think Florida State pulls the upset.
That's that SEC Mike, so just remember that. Shane had nothing to do with this one. He said shit on LSU right out of the gate.
Well, how about this? SEC undefeated Saturday. At least I can say that.
Well, there you go. Yeah, we overlooked this one. Maybe nobody will watch the game. Just kidding. Everybody's going to be watching it. So, no, I think it's bold, and that's I guess one of my concerns. And that's why I was a little bbit leery. I mean, I'm not putting any money near this one.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of question marks floating around Baton Rouge down there. Got to see it, and I truly believe they've got the right coach. The expectations are always higher in LSU, and that's not fair. Because even myself, I'm expecting more from them week 1 just because it's LSU. So I hope you're wrong, and you may be wrong. I mean, hell, they may come out.
I usually am.
Yeah, I mean, they may be the most efficient team in SEC right now. And I'll tell you, if they can come out and not have any mistakes, or how many times have we seen stupid penalties already in week 1 action? If they could come out and reduce the turnovers, then yeah, absolutely, I think they can hang in there and win this game. And that's kind of the way I'm going in, is that they are going to prepare, because that's the story that Kelly kept telling us all offseason long, that they are going to be the most efficient program out there.
And here's the beautiful part, Shane. If you're an LSU fan, you want to put your money where your mouth is, jump on that wager app, man. Just pound me. Hit me with some wagers.
That's right.
With this Florida State LSU game, I'm happy to take them.
Yeah.
But, hey, brother, that's all I got. I'm so fired up for this football.
Me too.
Cannot wait. It's going to be one hell of a weekend of food,
Yeah.
beer, football.
I love it.
This was like Christmas. You know what?
I love it. It's already been a great start, man. My Tennessee Vols doing it. I need Mizzou to get their shit together, and then I'll be a little bit happier. But all in all, it's been a great start to SEC play. I mean, we're undefeated, so
Yeah.
let's keep that train rolling. And I want to ask you though, real quick before we get off, storyline. If we've got any storylines coming out, if you're just predicting one for Monday, what are some storylines you're given your score predictions? If all goes like you expect, what are some things we're going to be saying Monday?
Again, I think South Carolina is, well, there's so much hype, so maybe that's a poor answer, but I just think that South Carolina-Arkansas game, if Arkansas dominates, if South Carolina dominates, because these are two teams, a lot of people outside of the SEC or inside that hate those teams, they're saying, oh, I could certainly see Cincinnati winning in Razorback Stadium. I've seen people saying Georgia State is going to beat South Carolina. Like, the faith is not there with everybody.
Yeah.
It's within those fan bases, but outside of it, it's like, give me a break. Shane Beamer, looking at his mentions, that we need to shut this dweeb up. I think that's dead wrong. I think South Carolina is going to be a red-hot team. I think Arkansas, and again, that's going to set up a huge matchup. But one, if we're both right about the Florida Gators beating Utah, then all of a sudden, hey, that's why I got Florida number 2 in the East. I think they're a lot more serious challenger than people are giving them credit for. You beat Utah. Utah's probably overrated, so we're not crowning them. But all of a sudden, that Kentucky-Florida game week 2, if they're both 1-0, that's already a game we're all looking forward to. But I think suddenly people are like, damn, Billy Napier, he may have something down there at Florida. That is certainly one. I think the storyline will be that one.
Yeah, I think you're right. If Florida, because a lot of people think Florida will be there, but just not this year.
Right.
I told you that takes everything out. You beat a top 11 team, Utah, then everybody's talking about you. And then how good is the East? So I think you hit the nail on the head there. That's a good one.
And I just hope no one gets upset because we don't take it well in the SEC after 9 months of being positive. You lose that opener. Man, there's hell to be paid for that.
Absolutely. Is there anybody you're worried about other than LSU?
I mean, I don't think Auburn certainly is going to lose to Mercer, but if they do, I'm worried there. You know.
All right, let's don't go down that road. We can ifs and ands and I can't. I'm sorry, I've been drinking.
All right, buddy. Well, hey, I appreciate you driving over across the street. That was great. I think this turned out great. Let's go watch some football.
Let's do it, man. Go Vols, baby.